Coach, midway point of the season, just your assessment of the offense as a whole.
Yeah, just up and down. I think, we've had bright moments and then we sputtered at times. And so just not near as consistent as what we need to be right now. One thing we've been preaching. So we're going to have some different bodies in there this week. But, those are never excuses. I mean, this is big-time football, Power 5 football, next guy up. And so we'll have some young bucks in there this week that hopefully this is their chance and they can step up and make a play when we need them to.
I think when you say young bucks, I think Jalen Jenkins is a guy that probably stands out to a lot of people. He's coming off the best game of his young career. Just what do you kind of think he's going to provide in a bit of a difference from what Nakia was providing in terms of a feature back?
Yeah, I think just explosive plays. I mean, I think, he accounted for every explosive play that we had last game, passing and running. And so he was really electric with the ball in his hands. And, I think that USC came out and played us in a scheme that we hadn't seen, but didn't want us to pass it. They're going to play two high safeties, get everybody out of the box, and dare us to run the ball. And so in some 10 personnel stuff, we had some friendly boxes, and I think he did a great job of hitting it on some zone stuff and getting some explosive plays for us. But, it'll just be interesting to see how he holds up through the course of a whole game in between the tackles. He's a guy that's a little bit more of a scat back, so getting the ball to him in different ways, in space, whether it's the throw game or the running game, something where, he probably needs 20, 25 touches a game.
As of right now, who do you kind of see as the primary guy to kind of spell him and take some of those carries so he can get a breather?
Yeah, we worked 3 of them this week, so you'll see Dylan Payne and Katzer, both the guys that have got a ton of reps around here, know what they're doing, and then Javinsky will have a chance to get in there as well. So those are the 3 other guys that we have right now up, and so you'll see kind of a mixture of those 3 guys rolling into the game.
Kind of overarching deal here, but with the 5 position groups on offense, which of them would you say are maybe ahead of schedule at the midway point, behind schedule, on par with where you expected them to be?
Yeah, I don't think anybody. I think we just kind of take turns of making mistakes when we do. Way too many negative plays last game, and that's a bunch of different situations. Tackles for losses, sacks, penalties at key situations, drop footballs in key situations. So collectively, we just have to be more consistent. So I'm not happy with any of them with where we're at right now. I think starting up front, I think we need to protect better. That's where it starts, giving up too much pressure too early. I think up front is going to be a huge deal this week for us to win this football game. Receivers, same thing, consistency. If we're going to get man coverage, then we're going to have to beat man coverage and make some plays. Quarterback, same way. He's been up and down. Everybody's seen it this year. He's had his flashes of greatness and then had some flashes where he looks like he's not ready yet. And so running back, same thing. I think up and down running back situation maybe been the most consistent of all of them. And then lastly, tight ends. I think once we've gotten into some 12 personnel stuff the last couple of weeks, I think we've been able to run the football pretty effectively in that situation. So happy with where they're at blocking wise, and to get them involved in the passing game a little bit more.
But since the last time we talked to you, maybe have you gotten a sense that the offense has been able to open up a little bit more just because people are maybe more comfortable and playing faster within it?
Yeah, I think so. But, it all comes down to execution. We're not doing any kind of rocket science over here. Our plays are our plays, and execution's a huge part of it. We've thrown a couple trick plays into things this year and some schemey stuff that I think's been pretty good for us just to keep people off balance. But just day in, day out. Our base stuff that we have in, we have the whole playbook in right now. And so we got to just do a better job consistently executing.
Coming out of the USC game, or when you're watching film of it, as an offense, what are you prioritizing going ahead after you taking what you saw from film onto the practice field? What's kind of the first thing you're telling them? Okay,
I don't think we really haven't the last couple games had any problems with 3 and outs. We seem to be able to get the ball moving, and then we sputter at times off negative plays. So it's been huge emphasis this week is to eliminate those negative plays, and that's collectively, and that's it's okay if we're playing and it's 2nd down and 8. It's a lot easier to call a game 2nd down and 8 than 2nd down and 25 because of a penalty or a sack, and so just to not put ourselves in those bad situations of going backwards. So staying ahead of the chains and being able to consistently move the ball down the field and not sputter.
And Coach, correct me if I'm wrong, but Oregon State is a pretty experienced defense there, and specifically in the secondary. I think they got a couple veteran cornerbacks. How does that maybe change the game plan when you're going up against some really experienced guys?
Yeah, I mean, like always, we're going to take what the defense gives us. But with that being said, I would agree with you. I think this might be the best defense holistically that we've played so far. I mean, there's guys that have played a lot of games. I think they play extremely fast. I think they're well coached and they're physical. All good traits that you want to have on defense. And so, this will be a great environment there in Corvallis. They've done a great job of being loud and creating an environment there the last couple of years. And I think that Coach Smith's done a great job, here on year 5 or 6 of really building a really good program. They're big, they're long, and so I think this will be one of our toughest tests yet. And we have to find a way to move the football. And ultimately, once we've got the ball in the red zone this year, we've been really, really good. And so we got to get it down there and continue to punch it in.